areas towards cities. I think it's now 3 years ago that for the first time in history, more than half of the people on Earth live in cities. For 2050, it's predicted to be even about 70%. So that's also a change in how people are able to take care of themselves and to what kind of services they can consume. And one final note on the demographic change is also about where they live, but then from a country perspective. You see that people like to go there where is a job or where they feel they can earn money. So you will see migration between regions within countries, but also between different countries. So some countries might suffer an immigration, or what people, especially for higher educated people, will call a brain loss, a brain drain, as opposed to other areas or countries which gain the brain gain, and will attract people. So that's how people are moving about, and well, as you will probably notice from my speech, those predictions are mainly on the use of the land area. So I've hardly heard anybody tell about, okay, what about the ocean, which is quite interesting, and I will comment in just a few minutes if you compare the area of land as opposed to the area of the oceans on our planet. One final brain challenge I'd like to tip upon briefly are global shifts in power. Especially I think that for people raised in Western Europe and the US, they kind of think either implicitly or explicitly that the Western world is the dominant power, and I think for the last 10 years it's mainly the US as a sole actor. But if you look around, and I think that already some people of you represent very well the other parts of the earth which are not on top of the mind of Western people. And already for the last 10 years, and then I have to speak to say it right, Asian countries have accounted for half of the global growth of the gross national product. So all indications are that there will be a shift from Europe and the US towards the eastern area, towards India and China, especially for the midterm, I would say. And then we also have other abbreviations like BRIC and MINT, which include not only the Eastern Asian part, but also South America as a part. And Africa is in most of those visions not very well represented, I think, but there is also a challenge, especially if you look to countries like Nigeria. So that is a brief oversight of 4 grand societal challenges to give you a bit of a background or of an idea that we're living in a changing world, in a world where there are a lot of questions to be answered towards the future. So in this horizon scan, we also tipped upon about 57 indicators for change on different areas. I won't dive into them now because some will be less relevant if you look to the oceans, but I invite you to have a brief look on them. The publication I showed is available for free on the internet, so you can just look on quickly whether there's anything that sparkles your mind to create future images. So what about the ocean? Well, STT is not the core organization working on the oceans. As I explained earlier, we are about future visions creation. But our board found about one year ago that water was an issue which should be touched upon in the next foresight study. And then I started some talks around the country, and many people talked about water. because, well, Dutch people have a strong affiliation with water. And when I made my final report on those conversations, it finally struck me that most of those conversations were about the water use on land, was about how making the drinking water, which is of high quality in the Netherlands, but how to even improve or secure that for the future. It's about the water use in cities. And there was one person who said to me, well, the future challenge is going into the ocean and use the minerals available over there. And then I was like, okay, this is interesting. It kind of startled me because I had the impression, okay, we kind of made a mess on getting the resources at the land area. Will we go and do the same in the oceans? And on the other hand, someone said, yes, but that's where the challenge is. We're at the beginning phase right now, so we have a chance to do it right. So then I thought, okay, perhaps this is a good moment to look at this vast area of water, which are not on top of people's minds, at least not in the Netherlands, but see what can the ocean bring us towards the future. So we have called our study The Future of Water, an ocean full of possibilities. And our main question for the foresight study is how can the open ocean, and then it's open as opposed to the direct coastline, contribute to dealing with and solving the grand challenges I just talked about. And I can send you also the presentation if you like to. So this is the overall question, and what we would like to get out of this is first a set of images. What might the future look like regarding to the oceans? And then, based on those, identify opportunities and challenges for organizations, for citizens, for the government. As we're based here in the Netherlands, it will be mainly for Dutch organizations and the government, but I wouldn't limit your vision and ideas to that target audience, so please feel free to think of the relevant audience for you. And one other part which we as STT would also like to bring into that is the technological implications, be it either as part of the solution or as a part of the problem. So, the ocean. For a Dutch person, this is a very unfamiliar side of our planet Earth. Because if we would draw a world map, it would have kind of the Atlantic Ocean, if you're talking about the ocean, but mainly it would be mainland Europe at the centerpiece of the world map. And this vast ocean would be split into two, be there on the one side of the Americas and on the other side of Asia. So most people here don't realize that the ocean is so wide. And if you have this image, then it's clear that the ocean covers about 71% of the surface of the Earth. And still we're not really using it explicitly in tackling the problems that we face on the land part of the Earth. Last week I was at a conference and also some people said, well, if you look at pictures like this, why call it planet Earth, why not planet ocean? And the ocean can also contribute a lot of things. We talk a lot about the shortage of fresh water. And the ocean doesn't contain the fresh water as in water that we can drink directly. The ocean water is too salt. But it contains 97% of the water on Earth. So if you use, for example, desalination techniques, you could use part of this water in order to create fresh drinking water. Another very crucial part of life, at least for us as humans, is the use of oxygen. And in the top layer of the ocean live very little organisms, plankton, be it either phytoplankton or zooplankton, but especially those phytoplankton organisms supply around 60% of the world's oxygen. And if you contribute some other organisms, you get to 70% of the global oxygen which is produced in the oceans. Which kind of startled me, because first I thought, well, the big lungs of the earth is there a big rainforest in Brazil, but no. That also contributes a lot, so it's very important, but the oceans are the main contributors. And one final thing I'd like to indicate for now is that 95% of this huge area of water is still unexplored. So we as humans would like to go to the moon and even outer space, but this world, which is much more closer, is also very unknown to many of us. So the ocean, I asked about your relationship with the ocean. And Sylvia Earle is a renowned scientist and an ocean explorer. I think she's in her 70s. And she has gone into this ocean a lot. And she's written a quite interesting book, The World is Blue, which don't read it now for now, but she's a very interesting TED talk of about 15 minutes in which she explains the contents of the book. And one of the interesting things she says as a summary is that even if you never have the chance to see or touch the ocean, as many people who live inland won't have, the ocean touches you with every breath you take because of this oxygen. Every drop of water you drink, because the oceans, they initiate the water circulation by the clouds, by the rain, and by the water we use, be it as rainwater or groundwater. And by every bite you consume, because of the water the crops need to grow. So everyone, everywhere, is inextricably connected to and utterly dependent upon the existence of the sea. And here she already touches a bit upon the value of the ocean. And I made two slides to highlight those, but I just found a little video which I think also explains it well, and it's probably more fun to watch. So let me see. And I hope it's playing. Can you hear it all right?
Let's just come to the ocean to escape from work. So it might surprise you to find out how much our oceans contribute to our economic activity and give us many other benefits. Some of it's easy to measure, like fishing, for example, is a major industry. The oceans are also a big source of ingredients for pharmaceuticals, food supplements, biofuels, and cosmetics. Industries with huge economic potential. And in many places, like here in the Caribbean, tourism is a major part of the economy. All of these industries rely on a healthy ocean. These things are easy enough to measure in dollars, but the ocean brings us an incredible range of benefits that don't have a price tag. Coastal habitats like barrier reefs and mangroves protect us from storms and flooding. Oceans absorb carbon dioxide and regulate our climate. They break down pollution. These things are what economists refer to as natural capital. And using it carefully is one part of what's sometimes called the green economy. The problem is, traditional economics doesn't account for natural capital, making some ocean benefits seem like zero. And if we see their value as zero, they're not included in equations or decisions, and sometimes the wrong decisions are made. That's why we're still damaging our oceans and losing species and coral reefs at an alarming pace. You can play an active role in making sure the true value of our oceans are counted. Choose sustainable seafood products. At the beach, stay in environmentally responsible hotels. If you live near the coast, take an active role in preserving our coastal habitats like mangroves and marshes. If you're a decision maker, be sure all the benefits of oceans are counted. It's vital that we all become more aware of the true value of our oceans.
So this was a short summary by Jim Toomey, who is actually the the cartoonist who signed those little